Welcome back to WNBC Hometown. I'm your host, Mabel LeBron Aragon. Male students are at a greater risk of falling behind in school or dropping out than female students in many countries. That is according to United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization report released last year. The report goes on to say that male students face increasing challenges to completing their education, with poverty and child labor both serving as contributing factors in some regions that can pull boys off their educational paths. I spoke to the founder of the Boys to Leaders Foundation, who talked about steps her organization is taking to make a difference in the lives of young men in New Jersey.
Leadership and advancement amongst our youth is what the Boys to Leaders Foundation is working on. And joining us to talk more about their initiatives in the community is Sara Pena, the founder. Sara, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited to be talking about such an important issue that's affecting the next generation of servant leaders here today. And so the Boys to Leaders Foundation has different pillars and different programs. And this year, what I wanted to just share with you all was our Leaders and Achievers Scholarship Program, which deadline application is March 31st of this year. And it's just a great scholarship program because it varies in the different scholarship amounts that we give out, as well as the different students. So it can be a middle school student going to a Catholic school or a boarding school or a private school. It could be a high school student also in that private school, boarding school aspect, as well as an undergrad student and graduate student. And I think it's very, when we talk about what are the needs in our community, we are addressing not only for the Latino students, but also those students of color, which is also important in the work that we do.
When it comes to the scholarship, I know that you don't just look at a GPA, it's much more than that.
Yes, it's much more of a holistic approach. We really want to get to know the students. Even the questions that we ask are very strategic to that. We want to just have the student really describe what are their passions and ideas, as well as tell us their story, their personal statement. You don't need this GPA of a 3.5 or, be the best honor student. All you have to have is a 2.0. And really just do a lot of, be that leader. So you don't need this whole, I have to volunteer, because we know the challenges that come with many of our students. And that's a big barrier when applications talk about the volunteer work that you've done. And many of our students haven't done much volunteering work because they have to work, 2 jobs to pay for tuition and put food on the table and help out at home. And so we don't want to ding them for that, right? We want to really get a picture of the student, and they may have been a leader or a volunteer in their church. Let's talk about that. What have you done at home? Sometimes many of our students are taking care of 2 or 3 of their siblings. And so what is really going on? Let's take a big snapshot of what's happening in a student's life, and let's not put so many barriers to them. So we really want to get to know the student. They may have been in baseball, and that's also some sort of leadership that we're looking at. So don't just think that you can't apply because, I've never done this or I've never volunteered. You never know. So I say go for it.
In addition to the scholarship, what other programs are you involved with the youth in the community?
And so in addition to the program, I have been blessed and I'm really grateful to be able to do programs through Boys to Leaders Foundation to my community. My community is extremely important to me. I believe I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey, and I really believe there's a Newark, New Jersey in almost any state that we go to on a national level. I think that it's important for us to give back and really help those that are coming after us and extend that helping hand. And so through Boys to Leaders Foundation, I have been able to have a conference which is our signature program, which is an annual leadership conference for young men. And so they come on a Saturday morning, and I'm very intentional to have it on a college campus because many of our students have never stepped foot on a college campus. And what does that look like? Because perhaps their parents don't have time because they're working and they get home late and open houses are missed and so forth. So how does the student really learn about college and what that's about if they don't step foot onto a college campus? And so I'm really intentional with our conference in doing that. And of course, the conference has been successful for 10 years. But in addition to that, we have an Emerging Leaders Advisory Council that anyone can be a part of. We have the application online, and through the Emerging Leaders Council, which is now co-chaired with one student and a board member, and they really host these great workshops during the month. So you'll be receiving a calendar of events. You can jump in, and it's all virtual because we have some of our young men, past scholarship winners, past youth board members that are out of state now, that go to colleges out of state. So that's another way to interact with them, as well as going to other schools that are out of state in Boston, in Maryland. And so there's a need for it. So not only are we touching the lives of right here in New Jersey, but we're also expanding through virtual, through technology. And it has been really transformational for us. And in addition to that, we're going to start off a Leadership Academy program, which is to start in the next year. So we're really excited about that as well.
What amount of money can a student get from the scholarship program? And is it open to anyone in the state?
The scholarship program is open to anyone in the state, regardless of where you reside. As long as you have a New Jersey residential address, and let's say you go to school in Boston College, you can still apply for the scholarship. It ranges from $250 to $1,500. But by a generous donation this year, we've gotten even a higher amount of $2,000 that we can award a scholarship to a young man.
You're able to do all of this, and it all began because one young man made a comment.
Yes, it all began because when I picked up my son from school one day, he was in elementary school. He said he had a wonderful time in career day, but Mom, no one spoke Spanish. And that really hit me hard. I said, what do you mean? And he said, nobody spoke. They were great presenters, but no one spoke Spanish. And I started to think, I said, there must be other single moms like myself that are going through that challenge. How do we expose our young men to leaders that look like them and that are prominent leaders within the community and within their careers? And I said, wow, there's got to be a way. And I kind of reached out to some mentors that I had, and I say, how can I make this happen? This is my vision. And if there's somebody like my son, there must be other young men. And thanks be to God, it happened. And I just went for it. I said, I got to do it. And people thought it was just going to be, 1 year wonder. No, I stuck to it. I made it happen regardless. And I started from zero. And today we are able to touch the lives every year by this conference that we have over 200 young men. And it's thanks to the partnerships of universities like NJIT and Rutgers University in Newark, Dr. Diane Hill, who has made that possible for us to have this conference for the last 9 years on her campus. And so it is because of those partnerships that are important, those relationships. It is a great board that I have that I'm able to do all this great work in our community and also teach our young men that it's important, first of all, that they are loved and they are special and they have all the opportunities that we can give them, we give them. And just remind everyone it's important to give back to our communities. And how do we do that? And how do we instill that in the younger generation? And so there is a passion for it. I hear it from these young men.
And Sarah, for boys that are interested in participating in the scholarship program, where should they go? Who should they call? What website?
Sure. The website is www.boystoleadersfoundation.org. And you can find our scholarship application there. And it's in English and Spanish, as well as our criterias are in English and Spanish. And pretty much everything that we're doing moving forward is going to be in both languages. And they can apply, through the scanning the QR code or just going right into the link that's being offered there and go right into the application. And once again, I would just don't second guess yourself. You've got what it takes. And the most important thing is what's inside of you. How bad do you want it? And just go for it. Just go for it.
And you said the deadline is March 31st.
Correct. March 31st. If you have any questions, feel free. There's a phone number there that you can call and an email address.
That was Sara Pena, founder of the Boys to Leaders Foundation. And we'll be right back with more of WNBC Hometown after this commercial break.